Thank you.
Thank you.
How long have you been doing that for?
12 years.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What got you to the place where you needed it?
It's funny. I've never really thought about how long I've been doing that for.
Mm.
And it actually was like a I started doing it and I had not done it before. Like it was a black and white starting to do it. What got me to start doing it was just like feeling so stressed and overwhelmed.
Mm.
And I really never getting present with myself. Never actually, not even getting present and just slowing down and not being hyper focused on what's going on around me and the people around me. I think I was just always hyper focused on everything around me and less, never gave myself a moment to slow down. If anything, the only time that I did, the only time that I may have done it was I was in like a concert choir in high school. I did musical theater. Like
It's
this is
just
like
funny.
the dichotomy of me is like this, like I played sports and all that, and I also like love music. Like I grew up playing piano. My mom teaches piano. I love to sing. And my our conductor, our teacher in high school would do these like little meditative things that he didn't call meditation, but he would teach us how to breathe into our diaphragm because it's important for singing, but he would have us like close our eyes while we did it to feel where in our body we were breathing into. Like he was teaching us breath work, but without calling it that. And because that wasn't even a thing back then. And he would teach us how to like, we would stretch. We would do like some yoga poses, but not call it yoga. And then later on, like years later, I was like, man, Pressman was teaching us how to slow down and be present without saying any of that. So that was the first time. And then, yeah, when I was 21 was actually like the first time I meditated.
What was was it one, it's funny, those people that you look back and you realize like, oh wait, it's just dressed up in different words, different language. And that's what I'm fascinated by is I feel like we're all on this journey of being alive, being a human.
Yeah.
And life's getting so fast and chaotic. And whether we want to or not, I think at some point there gets to be a big flashing signal in our lives, whether it's personal circumstances or our body breaks down or something happens to us or the world, where we have to slow down or there's no other option.
Yeah.
And so what I'm so curious about is how people, 8 billion different perspectives, a lot less of those consciously, describe that journey and describe how they use that process for themselves.
Which journey? The journey of
just of being in the body, of slowing down, of becoming. I hesitate using becoming conscious because I think it sounds a bit cheesy.
Yeah.
But if there is an element of that, of like becoming alive and present, becoming present.
Yeah, I think it sounds like what you're describing is presence.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. Like we just get so caught up in life and like all this external shit that is important and meaningless. I catch myself every day. Like I teach it and I catch myself every day, but that's like part of it. But it's just, we all get caught up in that shit. And then it's how often can you come back to presence? And it could happen like just over drinks with a friend too. It doesn't have to happen in meditation.
Yeah. So what happened at 21? Was there something that happened to you that you kind of got to this place?
I felt so overwhelmed that I like graduated college early because I just like was so stressed, and then went backpacking in Southeast Asia. Didn't really know why I went or what I wanted out of it, just wanted to travel. and I went for like 3-4 months solo. And during that trip, I heard about this monastery, and I was curious about like monks and that experience, but I never meditated before. And I went. It was in like rural Thailand, and there was a Vipassana, which is like a 10-day silent meditation retreat. And I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but I was curious. And so I signed up and I went. And the first day of that retreat was the first day of meditating. And it was fucking intense. It was 9 hours of meditation a day and waking up at 4 a.m. and like, 2 meals a day. And really intense experience. You're sleeping on like a concrete slab with a wooden pillow. It was intense, but that was where I learned to meditate. And it was like all the way in the fucking deep end, but it was amazing. I like it. It gave me the tool.
Yeah. And so, in terms of what you're doing now and how that's kind of shaped, what a message about was like this idea of purpose, this idea of having a direction forwards that propels us, and gives us some sort of, I guess, vision for where we're going.
Yeah.
How does that work in kind of where you're at today and what kind of the stuff that you're doing?
Yeah. So like, because I speak, I do a lot of corporate speaking where
I thought you were going to, I speak.
No, I do like corporate events,
yeah,
where I speak to companies and teams and organizations all around how to manage stress better, how to feel more connected to their work, to their life, to the people around them. And I also throw events that are not corporate events, but like public events around helping people feel more connected to each other and reset from the insanity of life. And whether it's that or the other, like whenever I do a corporate event, the first thing I remind myself in that room is that everybody in that room is a human being. Like when you're in front of 1,000 employees of an organization, when you're in front of like 100 executives, when you're leaders, whatever it is, you have this instinct to go like, oh, they're serious business people that don't care about what I have to share. I have to convince, I have to win them over and convince them. Like if you're doing a sales keynote, you don't have to win them over. They get it. But for whatever reason, there is this instinct that I had, at least early on when I started speaking, of like, oh, I have to win them over to agree that what I have to share, these ideas of slowing down and managing stress and showing up at your best are valuable. Then I started to remind myself that everyone in the room is a human. And they have a struggle, they have pain, they have joy, they have someone they love, they have someone they've loved and they don't have in their life anymore. They have every spectrum of the human emotion inside of them. And that's every single person in the room. They're not.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Everyone else has as intense an experience of life as you do. And that's all they are. So the reminder for me was like, if I can give them one nugget that they can take into their work or their life that will help fill up their cup to show up better for their work or even at home with their partner, with their kids, it's insanely valuable. And that's what feels like, I mean, the thing that lights me up is that.
It's there's a couple of things that I really resonate with there, but this idea of, you know, in Venice, in LA, there's a lot of people in my life, and I'm taking the assumption that with yours, who have this idea of mission or purpose or something greater than themselves. And what I've been going on this path with is like wanting to help people out of the depressive, suicidal place that I was a few years ago, and trusting and believing there is a path out, there is a way through, there's hope. And, you know, it seems so obvious, like when you found some sort of freedom in your head outside of the chaos, and, you know, it's not that there's never chaos, it's just like slowing down. Like you want to shout from the rooftops and tell everyone about it. Like, duh, like, listen to me. But the thing that I, like when putting music out, you know, I think there's this like such this dance where we live in this world where we are communicating, whether you're on stage or on social media or to a room full of coworkers or whatever, that their feedback we need their feedback to validate us. And that's this constant loop of just like external validation that we're on, I think, again and again. And I don't know how you've navigated that from, especially kind of speaking to rooms where it sounds like, yeah, it's like, what am I trying to prove here?
Yeah, it's when I'm in person with people, the external validation piece is less difficult for me.
Yeah.
It is challenging for me when I'm not, like, from a content perspective, from a, like, I think, and I think this is for a lot of people, just like social media as a whole, that's where I just like get caught in those loops. But when I'm in person, for whatever reason, I don't think I get into that as much, because as long as I can be myself, then it's almost, there's this line that I think Alex Hormozy said it. He was like, it's not about like how many times you can give yourself an affirmation or manifest something in your mind or anything. It's like, how much evidence have you built for the thing that you want to know?
I like that.
Like, can you just do it?
Yeah.
And build enough evidence to know it is true?
Yeah.
Because there's like one version of it where it's like, I'm amazing, I'm great, people love me, da 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 da. And there's another version of just like going out and treating everyone like your best friend and seeing how they should respond to you. And once you have enough evidence of that like, oh, people just love you because you're loving and charismatic or just kind or whatever that thing is for you. Like, I have my version of those things that I think that are my gifts, and everyone has their own gifts, everyone their own thing that their X factor that they can show up as. Maybe it's the way you listen, or the way you love someone, or the way you look at them. There's so many different ways, or how funny you are. I don't know. Like, everyone has their own thing, but if you just have evidence for that, then you don't.
Can we talk about? I said the work, and I kind of put that in quick marks because it feels like that. There's just this ongoing self-reflective exercise, and I think, and I definitely am not unique in this.
Yeah.
In the same way that kind of 10 great emails and one negative one, I'll look at the negative, and it's so hard for me to see the positive attributes inside myself. Like there's this like negative voice inside my head. Like, I don't say it all the time now because I've learned to listen to it and love it, but it's just like calling myself a piece of shit inside my head. So I love that piece around like how few of us actually look at our attributes. And yeah, what are your attributes? Okay, where did you get to with your, like, what's your magic sauce that you bring into the room with? And if that makes you uncomfortable, great, because I love asking that. Is it so hard? It's so hard. I don't like put words in your mouth, but I find it so hard to speak positively about myself, which is so insane.
Yeah, I think I'm getting better. I've noticed how difficult it was for me.
Yeah.
And it still is in a way, as I, yeah.
You don't have to answer the question.
No, I mean, I was at an event. Look, I went to a Tony Robbins event in college.
How was that?
19. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love you.
So cool.
Oh, that's good. I wasn't sure what the face was.
I'm just like, these big experiences, I'm like, oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Tony's amazing, and I think like his work is amazing, and all of these things you can go to, retreats, conferences, experiences, like, I take them all with a grain of salt.
Because they're the rest.
All businesses.
Yeah.
Is like the first thing you have to just remember. It is a business. And they are, the ones that you've heard of the most are the best businesses, which means they have the best customer experience, the best marketing as well. Yeah. But yes, the best marketing,
but also the best experience.
But also, it's like, why is Apple one of the biggest companies in the world? Because it has the best product, maybe, but one of the best from a customer experience perspective, from a user experience perspective. Yeah. And the reason Tony is one of the biggest and has been for 30 plus years is because he has distilled all of this incredible knowledge for you. It's not him, and he even says this, like all of his stuff is stuff that he took from other incredible people of history and distilled it into what he calls his work. So like that's, but anyway.
So Tony Robbins.
14 years ago,
Yeah.
went to Tony, Unleash Your Power Within, like his like 4-day thing. And he asked this question, is like, what's your X factor? And I remember being with my best friend, Alex at the time, but we were there together. And we were partners for this exercise, and I couldn't fucking figure it out. And it took me like probably 10 years. And he was like, he knew it, which was the funniest part. He's like, dude, like, how is it not obvious to you? We were like best friends in high school and all the way to now. But at that time, he's like, how is it not obvious to you? It's so obvious. And I was like, oh, I don't know. It was just sort of, it's almost like you're a fish in water and you don't know you're in water, right?
I mean, that's the kind of whole gift of like therapy, and I don't want to say therapy, but just like people in life, people who see you. Like you met my friend Courtney.
Yeah.
She's been one of those people who's like reflected back to me because she sees me, and it's like such a new. I'm now grateful that I do have friends in my life who see and know me intimately. But when that started to happen, for the majority of my life up until that point, I didn't have people who felt like they knew me, and we all just want to be seen and heard, right? And so the people who have that perspective on the stuff that we can't, like that's this beauty of being alive. Like, oh my God, you see this thing when I can't see it myself.
Yeah. Can I share a story that helped me?
Please.
Help me see it?
Go on.
So I was probably 8 years later, so it was 2017, 18. I was in Sydney, Australia with Alex, actually, same friend. And friends are important.
So you stood around?
Yeah.
Great. Still friends?
One of my closest friends. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Pin that friendship. I actually like, that's like one of the things.
Let's come back to that. Yeah.
I know. I just pin it. So we were in Sydney, Australia. We were in Bondi by the busy street. We were trying to find our Uber and we were lost, like couldn't figure out where we had called it, and we're like scrambling. And like we were lost in that moment, and I was lost in my life also. Like this is a moment where like 4 days before my girlfriend and I had broken up. 2 days after that, I was having lunch with Alex. He was going to Sydney. At that lunch, I just decided to book the flight because I was like, let me just get out of here.
2 days later.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the next day flew, and then we were in Sydney the day after, right? So I was in this place that I feel like a lot of people have been in, where I just had really no sense of direction or purpose, no clarity on who I was, what I was doing, why it was important, any of that. And so we're in the middle of the street, suitcase in hand, trying to like find this Uber. And as we realized we called it like 2 blocks away, and all of a sudden as we're scrambling, we just hear someone yell, "Alex!" And we're like,
it's like reverb.
Yeah, right. Yeah, in the room and on the street also in our head. Like this is how I remember it very clearly. Alex! Again, Alex! What? We see across the street, there's this like, this older man had this like Mr. Miyagi look to him, just very, but he was like, he starts waving us over, and he's sitting in like a small like Toyota, like Corolla, something, and we come over, and he's like, get in, and we get in the car, and he doesn't say a word, and he just starts driving, but he like opens up his MP3 player. He had like an iPod, and plays Hotel California, and long intro right at the song, da 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 da,
Yeah.
and the verse comes in, and we're just sitting in the back, and he starts singing, and he's singing full volume, like on a dark desert highway. Cool. It's like very uncomfortable because they're in a small car, and he's belting the song.
I love this man so much.
Yeah,
yes.
he's amazing. So we're in the back sort of like laughing, whatever. The whole verse goes by, the chorus comes in. We look at each other, we're like, fuck yeah, let's just sing with it. What are you doing? He hadn't stopped. So we're like, all right. It's like, welcome to the Hotel California. What a lovely thing. We're belting. We literally sing this entire song with him now.
Yeah.
Till the end. And we're laughing and he's having a great time. And it's a long song. We sing the whole thing. Finally, the song finishes. He turns the exit, the ending music is playing. We're like, who are you? We're like, what's your name? You're the best Uber driver. And he goes, Sydney. And we're like, no, like the music's playing. We're like, no. We know we're in Sydney. What's your name? And he turns down the music, goes, my name is Sydney. I'm like, your name is Sydney? Are you named after the city? He goes, no. I'm named after Sidney Poitier. We're like, what? Where are you from? He goes, I'm from China. Like, what? It makes zero sense. Like, nothing he's saying. We're like, okay. And we just look at him. We go, Sydney, he's driving. You're the best Uber driver ever. And he goes, I'm a DJ, pointing at the MP3 player. He's like, I'm a DJ. I am a driver. I am the Messiah. Throws his hands up. And we're in the back. All of a sudden, we look at each other like, oh, this guy's like living on another planet. He's not.
He's not all there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he looks back at us and he goes, but you can be the Messiah too. You just have to spread your happiness.
So infectious.
And for 30 minutes, he shares like mind-blowing wisdom. Like one after another, after he just goes on this amazing, beautiful rant of wisdom. He started sharing about how all of us are here to give, how as babies we take everything. We can't give anything as a child. And then as we grow, it's our purpose, it's our responsibility to give to the people around us. But not just to give of things, but to give of you, to give of who you are, of your energy, of your gifts. And he starts sharing. I mean, he like, if I shared everything, at one point we said, Sydney, you're the best teacher ever. Like, we're learning so much. And he goes, a teacher does not teach you anything. He just brings up that which is already deep within you.
This idea of, I'm thinking about my friend Boise had he shared a story last week that he had to go see this optometrist, whatever, and just the profound wisdom coming out that wasn't intentional at all. But this idea that we can hear exactly what we need to hear from everyone and anywhere all the time if we're open to receiving it. And those like characters, I mean, the number of Uber drivers I've got into really profound conversations with, because it's so fleeting and so instant, we know that it's going to end.
Totally.
There's going to be like a half an hour ride to the airport and then it's going to end. So then like, cool, let's just go straight in.
If you're open.
If you're open to it.
Yeah.
And I love Mr. Miyagi, that whole thing, because it's just how powerful that was, that who he was in his like radical, weird ass, authentic self, which I think to most of us who are like, let's conform and do the things, it can be really confronting. But like, you went along for the ride. Yeah,
well, he clearly, I wonder how many times he does that, and then how many times someone goes along for the ride. One. Yeah. Like, that's his life. He does that. And I mean, the story, it's a longer story that is so beautiful. But like, it got to this point at the end of that ride of 30 minutes where it was so incredible that we were like, we're just like, Sydney, you're the best Uber driver ever. And he just looks back at us. And he goes, I do not drive Uber. And we're like, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't drive Uber? He goes, I drive people to happiness. I told you. Like, he was like shaking us by the shoulders, going like, you're not getting it. I'm not an Uber driver. Right? And like, that idea for me is like, this is the question that you asked of like, what's the X factor? We get so caught up. I get so caught up in like my job. like what my job is to do. And Sydney taught me that it's not about what you do, it's about how you do it.
This vehicle.
Your life is a vehicle. Your job is a vehicle. Your relationship is a vehicle. It's all a thing you do to share something, to share a gift. And like Sydney that day taught me, I mean, like the thing that I try and do more than anything is to share and spread happiness, my joy, my love. Like and it builds more as I share it. So it's not always there every morning. Like you talk about like, I'm a piece of shit kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And what am I doing? Often happens for me. Pops in my head, waking up, going to sleep. Who knows why? But
it just is. We're humans.
Yeah.
There's no escaping it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, yeah, this idea of that my joy is finding joy. Like I've had the gift of having human experiences which have been difficult and still finding joy in that. And I see that as kind of my purpose now. And I say purpose in like a big loaded word because it feels funny saying this one thing is purpose, but just the joy and the awe and the love that I know I can find in any given day. I have practices to get there. I get tools to get there. I've got people to get me there. I've got a whole safety net where I can find, if I'm really like cool, even amidst like pain and grief and agony, I can find that joy. And if I can hold on to that and I can walk, like the magnetism that I'm now experiencing in life by just like, I come in here, I'm like, some days I'm like, Rah, but I know that joy is infectious.
Yeah.
And that's my job. And that doesn't mean like denying like there's feelings there.
But it's not denying it, but that is it. When you have had those really hard, challenging experiences, you're saying you find joy in that, or even, I don't know if that's what you said. I don't know if you.
Yeah, there's one moment that comes to mind, which was so my friend Tom, who, did I tell you about this story? Tell you this? So Tom is the guy that I moved out here with.
Okay.
In 2019, he was like we weren't romantic, but he's very much like my soulmate, kind of best friend, brother department. It's actually his birthday today.
It's Tom's birthday.
It's Tom's birthday.
Happy birthday, Tom.
But he died in 2019.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we can laugh about it. Like it's kind of one of those things that
we can celebrate it.
We can celebrate it. Like I've come to this point of celebrating, but I also celebrate his death day, you know? But I bring that up because the next day, Nicole, and Tom, we worked in this office together for a few years, which is where I met Courtney. And the next day we got a pint of ice cream. We're at my house and we were just like laughing about how much admin he'd just left us. And it was like, he just left us a shitload of admin. Are you kidding me? Like I was sorting out his life, like, you know, there was just so much. And to be able to find, like, to laugh in those moments. And I think that's the gift, is like when, so Erasmus, who's coming in later this afternoon, his dad died. He was like 95, Greek, like the most like classic Greek old man eating tomatoes off the vine, age 95. He died like a year ago. And so I've been in that place and I texted him thinking of you. And I can't remember what I said, but it was like some dead dad joke like the day after. And he loved it. And like I knew him and like that's just like his humor. And I think there's this idea that, you know, when hard stuff happens, we can't joke about it. But like comedians are the best at doing that. It's just, and there is no greater medicine than the joy of and the laughter of like, how ridiculous is this experience, that we could look at it with the misery and the suffering, or we could laugh about the admin and the dead dad jokes and all the stuff.
What do you do to have the perspective of joy, or even just like it sounds like you're saying even in the hard times it helps you be who you are. It has helped you the hard times have helped you become who you are? How would you put that, or do you not agree with that?
No, I think there is I love this conversation. It's not that I'm like looking for the joy, but I'm open to the full experience. Like there's nothing wrong. Like I thought that if, hard things happened, you have to be in the grief and the suffering the whole time. But to your point, if I'm walking down the street and my eyes are open and Mr. Miyagi walks past me and starts singing at me, no matter what state of mind I'm in or what's happened that morning, I think the practice to be open is to be open to like, that can still transform. Like, and that's the magic of just like, I think we go throughout our lives and suddenly we have these experiences where we can get totally transformed in a day.
Yeah.
And there's so much beauty in that. And also this idea that, I don't know, I think this idea of becoming present and this idea of evolving is capacity for both. It's this capacity to hold, expanse, like painful emotions that, rip out your soul, but also like joy and like with your ability to see the world as an expansive place, as a joyful place. Like, you have to be able to hold the not so easy as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
trying
it. Period. Stop.
Yeah. I did, I think, try and avoid it.
How?
Just by, just by avoiding it.
Yeah.
Just
It's
pretty easy.
Punch
Pretty easy.
the emptiness.
No, you just avoid it. You just don't think about it, or you don't try and think about it, or you just suppress it and push it away, you distract yourself. I mean, like, that was, I would say, me for a lot of my life was just telling myself that it was all good and avoiding any kind of like sadness or anger. That's one that has become up, like, that I've begun to explore recently even. Because there's unhinged anger and then there's
sacred rage.
Yeah, not even sacred. I would call it like intentional anger.
Yeah.
Like, we're allowed to be angry. It's very interesting. I don't know. I don't hear people talk about this often, but I know that it's out there a lot. Like,
keep it coming.
And I'm no expert here. I'm a student.
Are any of us?
I'm a very student. Like,
okay.
But the point being, okay, anger as an idea.
Yeah.
You can be angry at something. It's an allowed thing. The same way you'd be sad, and no one would be angry at you for being, no one would judge you for being sad. You can be angry. Most of the anger we see is unhinged. Like, that's when you think they're angry, it's an uncontrolled anger.
Give me an example.
Your colleague spills something on the table. Your colleague doesn't get something right. And that idea of, what the fuck are you, like that idea of anger that I think we all have when we think about anger.
That's my dad.
Someone cuts you off. Yeah, like an unhinged, uncontrolled.
Yeah. Someone
cuts you off and you're just like, what the fuck? Yelling. It's like that trigger comes up and zero intentionality or control around that. It's unhinged. That's how most people see anger. Versus anger that is intentional and thoughtful. Like, you did that and I'm angry and it fucking pisses me off. And it could be about something happening now. It could be something that's happened in the past. Like, the way you have treated me unconsciously. I know it's been unconscious. This is to you, Holly, but I'm just saying.
That's fine. I could take it.
This is like a way I've had to, the way that you have treated me and handled our friendship for 10 years, right? Unconsciously. I'm not saying it was intentional.
Yeah.
But the way you've done it and the things that you've done makes me really angry. Fucking pisses me off that I've had to, like, just brush away all these passive aggressive comments. Like that kind of anger, like, man, you know how good that feels for me to express that, and it's control. It's not, and I don't even have to say it to the person.
Yeah.
Even saying it, writing it, sharing it in therapy or with another friend, like, how amazing is that?
There's two things in there. One is the power of anger is such a foreign feeling.
Can I pause for a second? Everyone try that. If you're here, I don't know, anyone that's listening, just try it and see how good it feels. Like with someone in your life, like something that you just, and you're probably going to call it like, oh, that bothered me. You're probably going to say I'm angry at that person because like, yeah, it's bothered me that they do that. Or like, I don't like that they do that. That's usually what we call anger is, oh, that bothers me, or I don't like that. But take that and see if you can just in a controlled way express it as anger. That's my call. Just try it. I've tried it recently and it's been beautiful.
Resentments are the number one offender.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's you're familiar with 12-step? Like AAs and the 12-step.
Oh, 12-step. Yeah.
12-step.
12-step. Yeah.
So that's the whole process. It's like, what are these resentments like? And it could be huge, this big like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Or it can be like, I can't believe like you took the milk in the fridge and you didn't leave me with the milk, you know?
Yeah, totally.
But those tiny things, they build up. And so we can either outlet and express, or we get to, well, in all cases, we get to say, okay, well, what's actually the root of it? What's my part there?
Yeah.
But the power of anger, like I think about dynamics with a couple of men that I was in a situation with. And like, it was only to like, when I got to that place of anger that I was able to like let it go. And it was such like up until then, it was like still trying to, it was emotion and it was like a lot of feeling in two separate things. And it was only when I finally got to this place of, fuck you, like, I can't believe this happened in both things, that I was able to be like, it's severed for me. And I think because like anger is such a foreign, I think a lot of us, I don't say everyone, but like this, we have to be well behaved and you can't do the things and people pleasing. But I love what you kind of said about with a friend, like you getting to express like the anger and like the things. Like, I think one of the greatest, coming back to friendship, I think one of the greatest experiences that I've had in the last couple of years is navigating conflict with friends, because the other side of that has deepened so much more, and I didn't realize that was available in friendships, you know?
It's the deepest. I have my own experience with that.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most difficult times of my life, because it was like it was a massive conflict with one of my closest friends, and
What was happening?
it was a lot.
Yeah.
And closer than ever now, because we like took time to actually work through that conflict. And I had all my own shit that came up in that. Like, it was like, this is when I was thinking about this the other day around like this idea. A lot of people are like, oh, this is happening for me, not to me. You know, like a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
And like, I think that just saying it is very difficult to feel it. Like when you say that sentence, maybe you agree with it, maybe you don't. Maybe you try and like tell yourself it's happening for you, but you don't feel that it's happening for you. I think a lot of people, like myself included for a long time, it was like, this is happening for me, this is happening for me, this is happening for me. It's like this fucking pothole in the road, and you just like put a piece of paper over it. Like,
So you're overriding the action.
you're just like,
Yeah.
like you're trying to cover up the feeling. You're not changing the feeling. You're just kind of covering up the feeling.
Not feeling the feelings.
Not exactly.
Yeah.
And you got to feel the feeling, but then you also got to like try and feel the future feeling.
It's just so, there is such this,
Makes
you know, when people talk about kind of self-awareness and self-development, it's this total mind trip where you start to realize like all these different, we are the most complex mesh of hormones and emotions and feelings, then we're coming into conflict with other people who have those, who trigger us all the shit. And sometimes it's our present self, and sometimes it's hidden past, childhood stuff that's coming. It's a wild journey that we're on.
Yeah.
And I think by design, depending how into the woo you get, like I think we do show up with people that suddenly it feels like some sort of soul connection. It feels like maybe there's like a karmic tie or whatever, and everybody's, got a lesson or a gift for you depending on what you want to see, or maybe nothing. But
yeah,
I do think there is this idea of like everything happens for you, but I do think I hear what you're saying on like kind of gaslighting yourself. And I see a lot of that of Instagram right now. There's a lot of like, here's the pop psychology thing of like what you should be doing, but it's a lot of self-gaslighting. Like the manifestation stuff of like, if you just think like, I am wealthy, and then you'll be, the $100 million will be there. But it's like it's gaslighting so many steps.
Yeah.
To get to that place of like, well, what is wealth and abundance, outside of the money and all the stuff. So I think there's so many really complex themes that people have been talking about for thousands of years, Mr. Miyagi included, Sydney Poitier. And I feel like at the moment we're just trying to get the cherry on the top of so many deep and complex themes.
Yeah.
And it may be harmful in that process. I don't know.
Yeah. A great example, I'll use what you said.
Yeah.
Like what you said about how when you feel anger and you express it, that you actually feel much better and resolved afterwards.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So like if you take that as a great example, and someone, let's say the person you're in a relationship with, friend, romantic, whatever. So if that person sees conflict and anger as a bad thing, when it comes up, they'll freeze up, tighten up, get upset that you're upset, when really, like you just said, you expressing that, and so for some people it's anger, some people it's sadness, some people it's all of it, whatever. You expressing that on the other side of that is an amazing relationship. So instead of going, oh fuck, why is this happening again? You could also, you're in an argument over whatever, the milk or a big thing. You could go, thank you, because this argument's going to get us closer together, and that's the milestone goal.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a bit uncomfortable right now, but it's going to make the relationship stronger, friendship stronger, whatever the thing is, it's going to make it stronger. That's what I mean by like, you could say, this is happening for me, as much as you want, but you could also feel this is actually happening because this dynamic right now that I'm experiencing, this conflict, is actually going to resolve something. It's going to get us somewhere. And that resolution is going to get us to a point where I can actually grow and be strong. And maybe it doesn't resolve. And maybe you learned a lesson from a failed relationship that makes you stronger in a future relationship. And that's why you should be saying thank you.
Well, I feel like the same sentiment for everything in life. Like every interaction has got stimulus for us, whether we want it to or not. And I think that's the journey of becoming present or conscious or aware of the self. Is like, okay, what feeling is coming up here? Is there something to take action on? And it's always within the self.
Yeah.
But like all these hard things that happen. One of my I had a sponsor a few years ago, and when life was like crashing, she would say congratulations. And like that's it. Like when I hear, I kind of got a bit dark and twisted in my own head. Maybe this is cold and aloof, but when people would tell me in the last few years of like, oh, I got cancer, or oh, my dad just died, or oh, whatever. I didn't say this always to them, but in my head I was like, okay, cool, this is the opportunity. Like it's the opportunity for, like, I wouldn't be
for them, you're saying.
For them.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be who I am without the experiences that happened. And I'm so profoundly grateful for them in whatever way that they happened.
Yeah.
Because they have given me this perspective of life, and I'm able to see the joy and smell the roses and see the hummingbirds and like all that shit, and like the sunset and cry at the sunset, and have connection with even the back of the Uber. Like I would maybe I don't know if I would always be like closed off to that, but some people would.
Yeah. Sometimes I have my AirPods in and I don't want to talk.
Yeah, and that's fine.
But what you're saying is big.
I mean, it's just like everything in life is like, I think we have this idea that shit happens and it's a bad thing. We've like labeled everything in life as good or bad. And all the good things have to look a certain way. They come in the form of money and a relationship and a good job and do you know the parable of the, I actually haven't shared this on here. You know the story of the man and the horse?
Yeah. Good or bad, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this idea that like, you know, this horse comes along and like, who knows if it's good or bad. And I think societally we have this thing right now that we've labeled everything as good and bad. Even like big political shit or big health stuff or big environmental stuff that we think is bad. I think there's a level of arrogance if we think that we can claim what is good or bad.
Totally. Well, we think we know. But to your point, like, you don't know. You don't know. The parable is amazing.
Do you want to get it?
Yeah.
I'll let you do it.
Yeah.
I'll get it on a bit.
There's a farmer and he's with his family on his farm in a small village. And he has a horse that helps him tend to the land. And one day he wakes up and the horse had broken out of the gate and had went off and was gone. And the villagers, all his neighbors come to him and say, "Oh my God, we're so sorry. Such misfortune you've had. Your horse, it's gone. How are you going to tend to your land? It's so bad. It's so horrible." And the guy looks at him and he goes, "Good or bad? Who knows? We'll see." A couple days later, he wakes up in the morning. His horse has come back, but he's also brought 4 other wild horses with him. So now this guy has 5 horses. All the villagers come, the neighbors, "Oh my God, this is amazing. You're so lucky. What a blessing. What fortune you've had. So incredible." The guy looks at them, good or bad, who knows? We'll see. A couple days later, his son is breaking in one of the wild horses, flies off the horse, has a moment, flies off, the son flies off the horse, breaks his leg. Now the son can't tend to the farm. The neighbors come, "Oh my God, we're so sorry. Such bad luck you've had. Your son's not going to be able to, what are you going to do? How are you going to do the harvest?" Good or bad, who knows? We'll see. A couple weeks later, the government, the army comes in to draft all the kids out to war. His son can't get drafted because he has a broken leg, drafted into a war they're surely going to die in. All the neighbors come to the man, "Oh my God, you're so lucky. Your son's going to live." Good or bad, who knows? We'll see.
That was good. That was a good take. It's funny. What I was thinking about is like that story is so familiar for me. And it's, these...
You live it.
You live it.
You. That's why.
Yeah.
You live it. Like what you just said is that you have an experience and you go, good or bad, who knows? Let's see. Like, even the thing that should be the worst thing, you go,
who knows?
Maybe not.
It's the biggest relief. Like in January, I was at this point where my visa was expiring in May. I didn't have work on, so like, where was the money? Where was the client work? And I got to this point of like, cool, I've been in LA for 9 years. Maybe it's time for me to go back home. It doesn't make sense because like work here's music here. I got friends, I've got my whole life here. It doesn't make sense, but I trust so implicitly now that if my visa was to expire and I didn't get it renewed, that I would have to go home. There'd be a reason for it. And I wouldn't, maybe like my dad or mum, something was to happen and I was to go spend time. I don't know. And I think it's the greatest relief of like just saying, I don't know why this is happening. And I see so many people, like I think that's like the biggest trouble, pain and the suffering is thinking that things need to go a certain way because it needs to happen a certain way. What I love was just the fact that, that parable is so, it so intimately, as do I. And then we had this conversation before and like, here are just like placed throughout the world. Some guy in China probably tells it a slightly different way with cows. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't.
Yeah.
But there are these very simple, it's like, it reminds me of like, I think there's a Disney, there's like only 7 true stories out there.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many of those are like this, that, people who are on this like self-development path, there's like 4 or 5 things that are just like, we get repeated.
Yeah.
And they have been for thousands of years because they're so powerful, because they are so truthful.
There are messages that have just been repeated over and that's why they have. It's also beautiful that I mean, that's why they work. Like there's this quote from Plato over 2000. This is 2,400 years.
Yeah, it was like 400 BC.
Yeah, so 2,400 years ago. And he goes, do you think that you alone have had this experience of wanting to flee where you are and travel the world and see new sights? And he goes on and on and on about wanting to leave and travel so that you can have a new feeling of mind. And he goes, your traveling will do nothing because you'll be traveling with the same person, yourself. You don't need to seek new sights. You need to seek a new way of seeing. Very paraphrased. But that line, okay, 2,400 years ago, the fastest travel was a horse. He's talking about something that is way more relevant today. I mean, this is like, what are you doing? What are people doing constantly? It's just like seeking new sights to try and get away from their head and their mind and all their troubles. And it's like, he's like, that idea, the fact that it's still relevant, that he said it 2,400 years ago when you wouldn't recognize that. Yeah. And the fact that they were still thinking that then is mind-blowing to me.
This idea of terminal uniqueness, that we're so special today, because I feel like our generation is being told, like, you are so special, you can do anything. Whereas actually the reality is none of us are terminally unique. None of any of our problems that we're navigating, whether it's through relationships or our body or like money or whatever, has not been experienced by someone. And I love, this idea that people have been having exactly the same conversation for thousands of years. And it's truth. It's like, what is the epitome of like being a human, is being alive? And I'm not going to say what's the meaning of life, because probably need to do some thinking on it, or maybe not. But I think it is just like this idea of like being alive to the full human experience, of which, you know, the physical functions of like making babies and putting food in our mouths and like shelter and money, like that hasn't changed for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So we're all just navigating the same shit. Yeah, maybe things have got faster, communication's got faster. But I love this, it's kind of like watching The Matrix. Like, you can watch it 10 times and see something different every time. And those books that you read they feel almost like just such a true, like all Plato stuff, like all these profound teachers, like they are all communicating something that's bigger than them. So you can hear it or read it a different way, because it's the different self that we're reading it with again and again.
Yeah. I had a teacher who would always say, like, for a transformation to happen, you need to have the message be right, the messenger be right, and the timing be right. And all three need to happen together for that real transformation when you're listening, right? The message that you're listening to, the person that's sharing it with you, but also the timing in your life. So you could have the same messenger in a different time that it could hit or not. Or for someone else, it may hit or not. It just, yeah.
Well, I think about this collective mission of standing on top of a roof box, you know, shouting to the world, like, can't you see how good this life is? You know, there's a different way of doing it. But there's a, people only find meditation. People only find like learning to get still, or putting better food in their body, or operating differently in relationships when they're ready, you know. Yeah. But I also do think like there's a collective thing happening globally where we are going so fast. Like our bodies aren't made to hear this.
So that's the
We're not supposed to. Yeah. We don't have the functions to like hear about like a ship sinking in Japan and all these people die. Like, I'm just supposed to know what's happening with you. And Courtney, who lives a block from me, and I've mentioned on here, like, she's just had a baby, so I get to like hang out, and it's just like this local community of life is like, that's all I'm supposed to like physically deal with.
You're not supposed to wake up and hear about a war.
No.
And
unless I'm in it, in which case I kind of want to know, you know.
Yeah. But like, the idea that people say to me all the time, which is, oh, I can't meditate. oh, I could never meditate. Oh no, I can't. Like, you used to meditate all the fucking time. Like, if you're over 40, you would be on the toilet and you'd be sitting there. You're not like, you're just sitting there meditating. Like, you would be on any vehicle of transportation and maybe have the radio on, but oftentimes you don't. Like, now you're on a call, you're on this. You just have to sit there with yourself, slowing down, being in peace, clearing. Like, most of our fucking minds now are just like a table, a desk with like paper piled up to the top because we never give any time to organize that shit. And people used to do it all the time. And you look at like all the shit that's going on. I mean, there's so many things you could point to. Oh, health and food and this and that. But it's like the stress that is created from never stopping your mind, from always feeling like there's something you need to do, from always feeling like there's an imminent threat and danger. That's, I think, the biggest one. I think it's the thing that affects the most people, that creates all this burnout, all this physical pain, all of this. It comes from this nonstop feeling of my life is threatened, even though that's not true. You wake up, I did it this morning. I opened up YouTube to like watch a basketball highlight because I wanted to watch it. All right. And then it was like,
here I am.
It like literally goes into just like war.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want this shit.
And then I get into like ASMR like clips of like the knife cutting of glass vegetables. Have you seen that stuff yet? The AI. I'm saying, what the fuck am I doing? Looking at how, like, spending a few minutes now, like looking at how a squeegee ball is made.
Yeah.
That's our life.
It's wild.
But yeah, I mean, there's so much in that. It's just the speed of life. It's just distraction the whole time. And it's twofold. It's not only like our bodies are suffering from like a mental and, you know, I got to this place where I was forced to start paying attention and listening and understanding thoughts and quieting the thoughts. Not quieting the thoughts, but like observing them, because I was in so much pain. And I feel like, you know, we're taking antidepressants, you know, anxiety, panic attacks, and also like physical, like the cancers, the disease, like our body's like screaming at us to pause and pay attention. And so this idea of like getting still and finding presence, it isn't just like alleviating that, but it's also the potential to find the joy and all the other, like the magic, and, you know, finding a sense of fulfillment in the work that you're doing, creation. Like, there's both sides of the spectrum that come from this place of like, let's just sit here for a few minutes and breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. And the one thing I always say is that it is like, everyone's looking for like, what's the ROI?
Yeah. And
not even from a business perspective, yes. And then from a personal and life perspective, yes. Like, on both, like, what return am I going to get on this thing that I'm spending time on, you know? And it's incredible, the return.
Yeah.
It is incredible. And like, don't take my word for it, take like Ray Dalio's word for it, the best, like one of the best investors of all time, Jerry Seinfeld, one of the best comedians of all time. It's like this consistency of like, slow down and you will show up better. If you slow down this insane world that you're being force fed, you'll actually be able to do the thing you want to do way, way, way better. You'll be able to respond to challenges better, problems. Like, any organization, this is like an obvious thing. Like, do you want your leaders, when they are faced with a challenge, to get hijacked and blow up, or to be able to handle the challenge? To be able to think, wow, this could actually be a benefit for us if we handle it correctly. Like, and then the personal life.
Yeah.
You're arguing with your wife, your husband.
This is the solution to world hunger. Slow down. World peace.
Slow down.
Thank you.
Slow down. Thank you.
Slow down, Mr. Miyagi.